Hi there, welcome back to 10 Minute Tuesday. Today we're going to be sketching this little tractor in 10 minutes and then painting it in another 10 minutes. So the whole idea of this is it's just loose and there's not a lot of perfectionism in it. I want to roll with the process. If it goes a little bit astray halfway through, I'll just keep going and we'll sort of coalesce it together into something vaguely that looks like kind of art. But even if it doesn't, I'm going to have fun, so don't really care. What do you think? You look happy, don't you? Living his best life over here. So it's quite an interesting picture, this. If we look at the image here, you can see that there is quite a lot of perspective in the bottom of the wheels. If you take a line from the front wheel to the back wheel, and also if you look on top of the cab, and that's going to give you your top perspective line. Now also, if you combine the sort of horizontal elements of this, which is the line between the front and the back wheels, where they touch the ground, at the top of the cab, and then that center line that runs through the middle of the cab, that will give you a perspective. So you can sketch those in initially, and also the distance, the front wheels as well will give you your perspective in the other plane. So there's going to be some vague 2-point perspective in this, but I'm going to eyeball it. Yeah. So anyway, this is not necessarily about a how-to. This is just about you guys being here and seeing the process and joining me for some stress-free sketching, right? But just with a time limit. For this sketch, I'm going to be using my Kaweco Sport fountain pen, a brass one. It's a super lovely heavy pen, and I've just got it, so I want to have a play with it. And so I don't know if you can see that there. So yeah. So basically we've got the back wheel there. There is a bit of perspective from the front to the back wheel at that angle. The hood is about halfway up, and that's going to be roughly horizontally in line with the back mudguard. Now the height of the top wheel, the front wheel, is actually about 2/3 of the back wheel. So yeah, I think the back wheel is going to be about there. And then in terms of the width of that, there is one wheel that's going to be there, and then that's going to be about there. So I'm kind of just dotting in, and I'm going to go in and just really gesture in here, and that width is about the same as the edge of the front wheel, and I'm going to do the same there. And then we're off at that sort of angle, and that wheel, if you look at it, it's almost sort of touching that wheel. Now yes, you can clearly see, I'm away now, I'm sketching away. You can clearly see that there is, what am I saying? Sketching, talking. So I vaguely got those shapes in. I'm going to go in and firm those lines up a little bit, but I'm not afraid of actually kind of like sketching in as I go, if you know what I mean. People often think that with a pen you should do your construction lines, with your pencil, and then what you do is you sort of firm it all up and then put your perfect lines in with your pen. I don't necessarily think you have to do that. I think you can pretty much do what you want. And then go in at that angle. That's probably too steep there. Then we go over the bonnet to about there, and then we have some of this cab frame. Now, my old boss, when I was working as a product designer, he was the first person to design really profile cabs, and that was where the sections that make up the frame, these metal bits, they weren't just like angle iron. They were profile, which meant that you could have much more interesting tractor cab design. He also, here's an interesting fact for you, he also developed the Q cab, and was part of the team that developed the Q cab for John Deere, which was the first cab to have, vibration reduction. And he also designed cars for the Beatles, for the Monkees. He worked for a company called Ogle, and Ogle in the 70s designed a lot of bespoke custom cars for people, including like the Queen, and people like that. I think he also designed the Triumph Scimitar, but anyway, he was a dude. Now, as far as a claim to fame goes, I think probably the most amazing thing, or his contribution to the world when he was a designer, is he designed that little blue asthma inhaler that really hasn't changed in all those years. He was the guy who did the design work on that. So he was a big inspiration for me, but unfortunately my design career was pretty short, partly because of my own lack of drive, I think, when I was young, and partly because there really wasn't a lot of work for me in the studio. I think if I'd have gone into it a little bit sooner, it would have been better. And also I was kind of trapped between two generations. There was a generation that was all about CAD, and there was a generation that was all about being able to draw properly. And compared to him, I really felt like I couldn't draw. But I also didn't really have the CAD skills, because at that time, colleges didn't really have the funding to, I mean, this is 30 years ago, to sort of invest in, 3D modeling software and things like that. So I was kind of trapped between two disciplines in a way. Right, so that's my vague tractor. So what I'm going to do here now is just put in a little bit of, we want filey seafront here, so let's do some railings. We've got a lot going on back here. These tractors that you see at the seaside are obviously for pulling boats in the water most of the time, or fishing boats. So I really want to be sort of firming this up now, starting to create some more interesting shapes. So what I'm going to do is think about putting in some of these treads. Now, treads are really hard. They are very hard. You really have to construct these properly, I find. If you try and fudge them, they never look quite right. I'm fudging them, but that's because I'm in a bit of a hurry. Fast. So normally with something like this, I'd spend quite a lot of time developing things like line thickness, just to give the sketch some character. But really here, I don't have time. I've got 2.5 minutes left. Now, a lot of this kind of shadow and things I can put in with watercolor, but I just want to try and get some lines defined with pen. These Kaweco Sport pens are great. You can be really quite rough with them. I don't know whether you can hear how hard I'm pressing, but you can be really quite tough, and particularly when you have thick paper like this, you can get some quite wonderful expressive lines actually. You don't have to be gentle with them. There's a tyre back there just spotted. Okay, so we had this cab here, and that line under there wants to be quite strong, and the line around the outside of the cab wants to be quite strong. There's no lights on the roof. Anyway, it smells, this pen, it smells of brass. Can you imagine what brass smells like? It's really nice. We've got some decals on there. I won't do too much of that. So what else can I do here? I've got a minute left, so is there anything I need to do on the floor? I want to put in some details. I'm not going to put in all that stuff there. I might just do some sort of like fish boxy type things, which you often see at the seaside. A stack of fish boxes. We've got some stuff happening here. I'm not sure the perspective is wholly right in that, but doesn't matter. It's a nice shadow under the tractor. That's quite cool. There's an axle actually under there. Something. I think that perspective needs to be more. Those wheels need to be closer together. Anyway, right. So 19 seconds. I think I'm done with that. Let's just put some colour on it. You ready for the number? Ready for the dancing? Here we go. Here we go. 3, 2. Oh God, I forgot to put that lamppost in there. I'm breaking my law, breaking the law. There we go. 80s synth. You gotta hate it. Right, forgot that lamppost. But I need to stick to my own laws. Otherwise, what's the point? Right, so I'm gonna hair dry that quickly and then we'll go and put some paint on. And I think there's something wrong with the perspective in this, but it does not matter. It's still a fun process, and I think the great thing about this is all bets are off. If you do a drawing and you think, actually, that drawing's not brilliant, it means you can do whatever you want when it comes to colouring it. So you can just go mad, because there's no sense of like jeopardy in a way. Right, so what I'm going to do is get a little bit of this forget-me-not here. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of that primary blue. There we go. And that is going to be like a base layer over here for the bodywork. There's not a lot of bodywork on this. And there, not a lot of blue. Now, one of the other things I'm going to do with that blue is I'm going to add in a little bit of burnt sienna. You can see I'm sort of just mixing on this side here. I'll leave a couple of white spots just on top of that wheel there. And I might leave some of those treads white, not all of them. And then this one back here. Now this one is going to be, there's a lot of shadow in there really. Now, let's mix a tiny bit more. We've got quite a lot of dark in this tractor here under here. And there's an awful lot of rust type stuff happening, but I might try and dot that in when this is still wet. I think that'd be a quite fun thing to do. I'm going to leave a little bit of lightness up here, and then I'm going to use the rest of that for a shadow color underneath. So let's mix up some more generous shadow. A little bit of that bark. It's a little bit darker. There we go. Oops. Too much. Now I need my tissue because I've got carried away. So that's far too blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry the brush and I'm going to pull that out. And if it's still too blue, I'm going to go in and dab it, which I think it is still too blue. Here we go. Okay, so we're kind of running out of time a little bit. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to dry that. I'm going to take a bit of that raw sienna actually just before I do and create a vague kind of yellowy thing for wheels. And I might just pop that up there, and that's going to help me with some texture in a bit. Right, I'll dry that. Let's get some more shadows in here. Again, this isn't particularly well rendered or accurate. It's just me messing about, really. We'll put in some shadows in the top of the wheel there. And some more here. Normally, for something like this, I would probably do at least 3 or 4 lots of shadows on these wheels to try and kind of describe their form, if you know what I mean. It would be quite normal to do that. So this is very much like a shortcut, really. Right, so let's get some rusty goodness on the go. So I'll take a little bit of this in that space to mix here, this rose hip, and then a little bit of the yellow. I'm going to take a little bit of this raw sienna. You know, add in a few little bits here, and then put in some, break that up a little bit. There you go. And then we've got a little bit of rust up here, a little bit on the cab itself, various places. Let's go. Right, there's a tiny kind of blue tint, I think, in the cab, and I might actually want to just try and draft that in a little bit if I can. See if that works. Makes it look a little bit more like glass, maybe. I don't know. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of the burnt sienna, which is that slightly darker colour. Actually, tell you what I'll do. I'm going to add some dots there of that. Okay, so I'll dry that. So we're going to pause that there. No, I'm not going to pause that. Actually, I'm going to resume that because I wanted to put a shadow in over the bonnet. And I think that will help here to describe that form, like that. Actually, there's one there as well. I quite like that. Okay, so, right, so I've got 2 minutes 20, which actually weirdly is probably too much time because I've kind of gone speedy on this. Let's put some highlights in just over there. We've got these graphics to put in, which I probably shouldn't bother with, but we've got Ford. What's in the wrong place? Well, doesn't matter. There's a sticker here. These headlights could probably do with being a bit more prominent. We've got a little bit of a highlight here. Could put a highlight on there. Now these wheels, we could do a little bit more with those just to lighten up those areas. This pen is running out, I think. Then we could tidy up those tracks not tracks, treads, like that. We'll put a little spot of highlight on there. And then we've got these treads here that I haven't actually put that much detail on. We could kind of just do a gesture of those in there. Let's pretend we've got some detail in here we need to show. Just to add a little bit of room to it. There we go. So I think that's going to be it really. Add a bit of detail in just that cab to suggest some straight lines. So 13 seconds. So yeah, I mean, rather than going on and doing a lot more on that, I'm just going to leave that there. Tell you what I will do. I will use the time. I don't have time to sign it. So what do you think? Perspective is weird in that. I think that's pretty damn fine. That looks like that front wheel is sitting on a block or something. But I enjoyed it. It was really good fun. I really love the looseness of it. It's got a lot of life. That's all I ever asked for is a picture with a bit of life in. If I had more time, I'd have liked to have done in the background. It doesn't go all the way across, but nothing says seaside like cheesy lights. There you go. Just makes me happy. Now I could go in and do some more darks on there, but I think as an exercise, it's a lot of fun. So I hope you like that. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's very easy to get hung up on symmetry, and particularly with something as geometric as this, where you have circles and ellipses and polygons. But actually, the sketch itself, the sketching process, is not really about a true representation of that. I've got the photo. This is about me just having fun and messing about. Anyway, I've got my celebratory half-pint of tea. It's a Yorkshire tradition. I'm off for my mushy peas. I'll put my flat cap on and go race my whippet. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. What do you think, Bob?